would you like to control the news? On the social media site Reddit.com, users vote on the stories, moving them up and down on the front page. The idea proved to be so popular that Conde Nast bought the site a few years ago. And we're joined now by its co-founder, Alexis Ohanian. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
First question is it required to wear a hoodie if you're going to start an internet company?
It is not required, but it is definitely a very desirable decision. That's one of the big benefits of doing a startup is you get to wear the clothes you woke up in, and if you do have to go out, just throw on whatever you find and go about your business.
Well, your laissez-faire approach there sort of has been a tremendous success with Reddit. You've got, record traffic to the site right now over the past few months.
Yeah, and this is actually something neither I nor my co-founder Steve Huffman can take any credit for. We actually left Reddit about a year ago. We're still very involved in the site as users, but the team that sort of continued to carry the torch did a tremendous job. We just broke, I believe, 12.5 million unique visitors a month, and they're generating almost 1 billion page views a month. And I just get to feel special trotting out those numbers, but yeah, the team's doing a great job.
What accounts for that? I mean, does it just take that long to have the trajectory in terms of getting user awareness, or what builds traffic like that?
I think it was getting rid of me and Steve. No, I think, we started it back in 2005, right after graduating from UVA, and wahoo indeed. And we never ever could have expected it to grow like this. I think, it was a combination of things, and our sort of chief rival, Dig, sort of had a meltdown, so to speak, in the last year, and that meant a tremendous surge of traffic for Reddit, and has really given it the prominence now as the top social news site. And again, nothing we can take credit for, but really a testament to the community.
Well, you sold the company to Conde Nast. You've got some new ventures now, including the chipmunk you've got on your chest here.
Yes, this is for hipmunk.com, chipmunk without the C. And if you can believe it, it's a flight search website. We want to take all the agony out of flight search.
How do you do that?
Well, so normally flight search sites don't really care about users, people who actually want to book tickets, and we're a bunch of travel geeks. And so we realized that, say, sorting by price isn't necessarily the best way to sort and show the best flights. It's probably worth $10 to get that flight that doesn't have a 4-hour layover. So we sort our flights by agony, showing the least agonizing flights first. And we do it visually, and it's been a lot of fun and been really well received in only about 6 months.
Would you want to hold on to this company through the growth, or would you sell it as quickly as you did Reddit? Wow.
Well, to be fair, that is a question for Steve or Adam, who are technically the co-founders, but as the dude who doodles the mascot and sort of manages the brand, I have gotten so much pleasure just watching Reddit grow over the years that whether or not I was the CEO or just an employee at Conde Nast, it really didn't matter. I was a user of a really cool, fun site.
Well, you're involved in venture firms, and you've got sort of your finger on the pulse. You and I spoke very recently at a UVA media panel, and you said some really interesting things, which is why I wanted to get you on the show. You were talking about really a change in the landscape, the rise not of Big Brother, but of Little Brother in terms of how information is shared. Explain your theory.
Yes, all right. Well, so I did gank this from a friend of mine, Jennifer A. Lee, but she had very thoughtfully put together these concepts and sort of called it Little Brother. And it means that now large governments, large corporations are now sort of accountable to Little Brother, to people like us, thanks to the internet in a way that they've never been before. And then WikiLeaks has sort of become the poster child for this, or I guess specifically Julian Assange has become the poster child. But it's not a story about Julian. It's a story about the fact that now there are these platforms online, and OpenLeaks, which we should probably see at some point in this year, is going to be a new way for third parties to take anonymous data from sources who are leaking all over the world.
OpenLeaks is a new site?
Yes, it has not yet launched, but it's going to be a platform for people anywhere to start their own sort of third-party, sort of WikiLeaks equivalent, be able to take content from anonymous sources and publish it. And I'm sort of reminded of what we were told when the Patriot Act came out. And so if there are any large governments or corporations out there who are worried about this, remember, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about. And so at the end of the day, this is a very kind of new world we're living in, and unless you're going to unplug every internet connection, it's not going to go away.
Well, corporations worry about it because of proprietary information, right, to keep their businesses functioning. But in the political space, there's been a lot of noise about this Facebook revolution, like what's happening in Tunisia right now. Are people over-anticipating that? I mean, do you think that the descriptions you've read of social networks sort of injecting this new kind of rallying point for political movements is real?
In a way. I think it's certainly, it's easy to pick on it. Malcolm Gladwell had an essay that I was really disappointed with, actually, in which he talked about the fact that, like, say, the civil rights movement would have never happened with just tweets. And he's right, it wouldn't have happened with just tweets, because it happened with people doing stuff. The internet is just a means of communication for people to do stuff. No one said that they would have been able to phone in the civil rights movement. No, they use that as a coordinating tool. And likewise, that's what the internet is. And in a place like Tunisia, for instance, where the state pretty much dominates the media, the advantage that social media have, whether it's putting a video on YouTube or putting photos on Flickr or just spreading them on the internet, is that you no longer have to go through a traditional media source to get images out there. And so things like self-immolation, which as far as I know were fairly foreign to the Muslim world, sort of a more common East Asian thing, caught a lot of attention when they were happening in Tunisia, and all of a sudden those images and the stories could actually be spread all over the world. And so I think that's really the change, and the ability to disseminate that information has become a lot easier. Slacktivism certainly exists, but you can't get away. You can't get away from the power of that raw data, of that raw footage. And I learned about the bombing in the Moscow airport from the video footage that bubbled up on Reddit from someone's camera phone,
which we ran on air. Right. Well, Alexis, far more productive in your UVA dorm room than I was since you created Reddit while at Virginia. Thank you so much for coming on the show and telling your story, what you're doing now. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.